Boxing experts are picking Bivol based on all the things we spoke about, the jab, the footwork, the defense, the fight IQ, all-around boxing ability. But when I think about Beterbiev, I think about the chin, I think about the power, I think about him being able to overcome adversity, I think about that record. And right now, when I have all the money and I'm pushing it in and I'm telling you who to go with, my pick is to win this fight and leave new undisputed, all the belts from Riyadh season, the light heavyweight king. I'm taking Artur Beterbiev. What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video we're going to be going over yesterday's world title fight between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. I'm going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning the overall punch stats of the fight. We're going to talk about the jabs, the power shots landed, and the overall narrative of how this fight went down. Before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. And if you haven't already, could you hit the notification button? If you like the content that I create, what this will allow me to do is pop up in your feed every time I put something out that's new. Thank you. Guys, last week you heard on my channel me telling you who was gonna win this fight. I told you I was putting my whole wallet on Beterbiev. And once again, in another big fight, I got it right. Now, I'm not gonna say it was a walkthrough. I'm not gonna say it was a wash. And I'm not even gonna admit that the announcer was reading out the scorecards that I was confident, because guys, this was a high level chess match. I had a good time watching the fight. It was great to see two of the best in the world going at it. And this is what we get as fight fans when you have the #1 and #2 fighters in the world in their respective division going at it for an undisputed world title. We know with the victory, Artur Beterbiev became the first undisputed light heavyweight in 25 years. The first, in case y'all forgot, since Roy Jones Jr. Now, celebrities, fighters, everybody was screaming robbery. People were tweeting after the fight why they thought Bivol won the fight. Some people said it was a blowout. Now, my scorecards, I have it 7 rounds to 5, but guys, there were so many close rounds that could have gone either way. In this video, I'm gonna break down, like I told you, the punch stats, but I'm gonna also give you the reasoning on my end. Now, granted, my bank account's happy because I won, and once again, I have the video proof of me predicting the winner, so all in all, my ego feels a little good, but I wanna explain why I think the judges came up with their decision. I did not have Beterbiev winning 4 more rounds than Bivol. Like I said, I had it 115 to 113, 7 rounds to 5, and a lot of those rounds could have just been a coin flip. What I saw play out in the fight, from my opinion, how the fight started, Bivol's game plan was exceptional. I like what he was doing with his feet. This was typical Dmitry Bivol plan of attack. Use his feet to set up his shots and get his opponent uncomfortable like a deer does in the headlights. I talked about this last week. But what didn't happen was throughout the 12-round fight, we did not see Beterbiev ever in the wrong position. And it's these subtleties that I also spoke about, which what makes Beterbiev so great. Everybody talks about the power, everybody talks about his knockout to win ratio, but a lot of people kind of forget his greatness lies in the subtleties, what he does with his feet, what he does with his guard, his pressure. The whole fight, he is putting himself in the exact place where he wanted to be, and Bivol, as the fight was going into the later championship rounds, found himself out of position more often than Beterbiev. How does Beterbiev achieve this? With that pressure and with that jab. I also loved Beterbiev's body work late. We saw the body work happening for Bivol early and mid rounds, and my buddy I was watching the fight with was like, wow, Beterbiev, he went to the body in the first round, but not a lot. It wasn't like he was investing into the body. It was in those championship rounds where he started to invest in the body, and then he started working the jab up top, and this is where we started seeing Bivol get on his bike more often, and he was the one being out of position. So when you're thinking about judging some of the rounds, they were so close. A lot of the later rounds I gave to Beterbiev based on where he was in the ring, specifically his feet versus Bivol's feet. You can't argue the fact in some of those close rounds, Beterbiev was in better positioning. And sometimes in a high-level chess match, you have to remember as fans that body positioning is equally as important in terms of punches thrown or punches landed, because that is who's dictating the fight. And I felt like Beterbiev did that better than Bivol in this matchup, and this is why I'm not mad about the outcome. When I think about a word that describes Beterbiev's performance, I think about relentless. He was relentless with his pressure, and he was relentless with his ability to make Bivol move the entire time. Something also that was happening that I found interesting was during some of the punch combinations, because of the pressure that I mentioned that Beterbiev was putting on Bivol, in moments where he should have been moving, he wasn't, and he was there to get hit. So this is what that pressure Beterbiev was doing, in my opinion, for Bivol's defensive scheme, is the fact that Beterbiev would be pushing, and Bivol would kind of get stuck sometimes in the strike zone a bit too long and get hit with shots that he shouldn't have got hit with, but it was the pressure that made Bivol stay still. You never want to stand around too long in front of a knockout artist, and I felt that was another one of the subtleties that Beterbiev was able to execute on his game plan that Bivol wasn't able to answer, especially late. Now let's take a look at these statistics. When we look at total punches output, the total punches thrown, Beterbiev throws 682, landing 137 at a 20% clip. Bivol throws 423, landing 142 at a 33% clip. So Beterbiev throws almost 250 punches more than Bivol, but only lands 5 more. He was less accurate, but you have to take into consideration the movement of the fight. And this is why I referenced before this the subtleties of Beterbiev. It was the pressure of Beterbiev on Bivol which bothered Bivol. But at the same time, this is why the statistics were a little bit misconstrued, because Bivol wasn't throwing as much as Beterbiev. When you look at pressure in anything, racing, fighting, boiling something, cooking something, you're turning the dial up. So as Beterbiev was turning the dial up, a lot of that dial is him here, him here, him here, and a lot of those punches aren't always meant to land. If you look at the overall scheme of Beterbiev's plan of attack, a lot of those punches were throwaway punches to add that pressure into Bivol's game plan to see if he can make that adjustment. And later in the fight, that's where it was paying off. And this is one of the things that Beterbiev talked about, what he wanted to do. And this is what he always does: apply pressure, make his opponent uncomfortable. But Bivol is such at a high level, he wasn't gonna get out of there. And he was winning a lot of these rounds as well because he's super technical. Now, when we look at the total jabs thrown, overall Beterbiev throws 376 and lands 47 at a 13% clip. Bivol throws 255 and lands 58 at a 23% clip. So once again, Bivol's landing at a higher percentage. He's the more accurate puncher. But when they're adding punch stats, it's one of the reasons where when you're looking at CompuBox, they're taking in all sorts of movements, feints, they're taking in throwaway punches, and they're adding all of them up into that punch count. Beterbiev is missing. He's not sitting down in his jab and Bivol slipping. He's doing it this sort of thing. He's doing it, and also I should also mention, another reason Beterbiev was successful, because he wasn't just putting his jab out, his feet were following him. So he was changing the dynamics of the fight by bringing his feet with his punches that you don't see a lot, and you mix in Beterbiev's power to that fight style, he is a nightmare to game plan for. And you got to see the frustration in the later rounds. Think about every time the fight was clinched up and the ref would break it up, it was Bivol who was throwing shots at Beterbiev, almost like, get off me or take that one, because I saw frustration in Bivol every time the fight would get broken up, especially at the end. I'm not saying that he was frustrated because Beterbiev was doing more. I'm saying that I've actually never seen Bivol frustrated in a sense that he wasn't able to sort of execute to the T what he wanted to do against Beterbiev, and a lot of that had to do with the respect of Beterbiev's power, and that's why they call him the boogeyman. That's the danger he presents to his opponents, is if you stand around him too long, if you stay too close to that strike zone, you're gonna get hit. Now let's take a look at those power shots throughout the whole fight. Total power punches thrown, Beterbiev throws 306, lands 90 at a 30% clip. Bivol throws 168, lands 84 at a 50% clip. A lot of Bivol's exchanges, when those power shots are being added up, are backing up. Earlier in the fight, there were some exchanges and they both were standing in the pocket getting hit, but what we saw as the fight progressed was Bivol would circle and use his feet way more, and the power shots, in my opinion, the power shots should have been way lower than what they said, because as you're exiting the pocket or you're trying to counter, those really aren't power shots. If I'm adding them up, it's when each guy is sitting down on their shots, feet are flat, and they're trying to land something big, trying to hurt their opponent. Bivol, I felt, hurt Beterbiev a few times in the fight, as did Beterbiev. The biggest shot of the fight, in my opinion, around round 8 or 9, Bivol caught Beterbiev on like the side of the temple, and he didn't wobble, and the announcers didn't talk about it, but what you got to see was the output throughout that entire rest of the round. It was almost like Beterbiev was trying to recover or figure out his bearings, but after that, I really didn't see anything too much that bothered Beterbiev. It was the power that wasn't coming back from Bivol that I thought told the story. In those championship rounds, you saw a guy who didn't respect his opponent's power in Beterbiev, and he felt like he couldn't get hurt, and that's when he really started sitting down on those power shots to the body, in which that I felt gave him those later rounds. So the scorecards, in my opinion, 7-5. I'm not mad at the decision. I wouldn't be mad at it if it went the other way. This is why I don't think it's a robbery. Who do you guys think should fight next? I'm all on board for immediate rematch. The light heavyweight division isn't the deepest division. These aren't only two of the best light heavyweights in the world. These are two of the best fighters in the world. I could watch you guys fight every weekend if they were able to. So in the comment section below, who do you think won the fight? Do you think it was a robbery? Do you want to see a rematch? And if it happens again, who wins that fight? Let me know all that.